Fam, thank you for choosing to watch this episode of Mind the Mic podcast. Before we get into it, though, I need you to hit subscribe. And not just me, the whole Mind the Mic podcast family needs you to. Maddie, Uncle Pete, Stu, Leka, and of course myself, Shubz, and anybody else that's on board by the time you watch this video, we need you to hit subscribe. If it's your first time here, I understand if you're a bit reserved and you're like, I don't know, watch the video and after subscribe if you want to. But if you're here and you're watching all the time, subscribe. It's not that hard. All you got to do is, if you're watching on your TV, you're like, I can't subscribe, I don't have an account. You have a phone, don't you? I know you have a phone in your hand right now. Grab the phone, create a YouTube account. It takes a couple minutes, and then you can subscribe. And when you do that too, hit the notification bell so you can get notified every time we put up a new episode. I asked this of you because we put in so much time. We've done hundreds of episodes. We plan on doing thousands more with as many amazing people as we can. But we need you to subscribe, fam. Big love to everybody that's been watching. Big love to everybody that's been supporting and anybody that's just arrived. I hope you enjoy the journey, enjoy the episode, and subscribe. Welcome back to another Mind the Mic podcast. I'm your host, Shubz, here with a very special guest, a weapon in the world of women's rugby, and also a beast on the mic herself, Sera Naiqama. Lisa Bolivinaka, sister, how are you?
Well, bro, I'm quite ill at the moment, but as I said to you before we started recording, if this potty is the only thing I do today, I'll be a content woman. So thank you so much for having me.
Grateful, sis, grateful. For anybody that don't know who you are, can you give us a little background, little synopsis on yourself?
Yeah, sure. Australian of Fijian, 29 years old, started playing rugby when I was in high school, right on the back of the announcement that women's rugby sevens would be included at the Rio Olympics, which was in 2016. Got stuck into the game then. Ever since, have been a loyal member of Sydney University and have had the privilege and honour of being able to play for the New South Wales Waratahs and Australian Wallaroos, which I am still very much a part of today. Off the field, I have begun to forge a media career. I'm very fortunate to commentate with Stan Sport Rugby. I've had a few inclusions with World Rugby on the HSBC World Circuit, and I regularly do work with ABC on a show that I'm very passionate about called That Pacific Sports Show. So a bit hectic between footy and media, but so grateful that I can do both things at the same time.
Yeah, solid. How did you find life growing up as a Fijian-born Australian, and how many siblings do you have?
Funny that you say, because I probably didn't really recognize myself as a Fijian because I grew up in Aussie. So it's, Aussie culture and being born and bred here, it's all I knew, right? So I probably struggled to accept my Fijian identity up until I was a teenager, just because although we practice things at home and the language is still very much spoken by my family, it didn't make sense to me. And I hadn't been back to Fiji until 2009 when I was in my early teenage years. So there wasn't a lot of connection to my motherland. However, as I've evolved as like a human and matured a little bit more and, spent more time with my parents and my grandma in particular, understanding what they left in order for us to have the life that we have now, there's definitely a greater sense of appreciation and respect from where I come from. So again, it wasn't something that I was always proud of, and it was just because there was a lack of connection. However, as I've grown up, I've become so proud to be recognized as an Australian, but have Fijian roots. Like, you look at the color of my skin and the texture of my hair, and I am a Fijian woman. I am
and proud
ancestors, and I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud of it. So it's been a journey. I'm still on it, but I'm in a far greater place of understanding now than when I was growing up.
Do you think, like, looking at the way you were brought up in understanding that, like Aussie sort of confusing, but do you think that a lot of now you're learning a lot of your Fijian stuff or more of your roots, do you think a lot of that actually underpins who you are without you even knowing, like innately was already there?
100%. It was just always there. It was probably just a lack of consciousness that it was there, right? But again, there was like one pivotal moment, and it must have been about 2016, 2017. I went to this event where it was all about Pacific business owners and, you know, big players in their industry. And I just thought, this is crazy. Like, I didn't even know that these kind of people existed in my community because I was just so in my own silo of, you know, who I thought I was, etc. And I think a lot of what I struggled with was like the stereotype that surrounded Pacific Islanders, you know, that you're not smart enough, that you're only good at the footy and the music, and you're kind of boxed in. And then without you even knowing, the way you think is also boxed, because you're like, well, this is how the world sees me. So maybe I should just conform, because it's much easier to just conform than it is to break out and say, no, I'm actually not that. I'm much more than that. But the reason I speak of that event so fondly is because that was a real turning point for me. I was like, nah, like, I don't just have to be one thing. I can be many things. And matter of fact, I can be great at many things as well. So again, all been a journey, all been evolving, still so much growing. But like, I think having connection to like your community is so important, because it further validates who you are and where you come from as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think roots is important. And just on what you said about the boxed in thing, I think that's a huge thread throughout a lot of these conversations I've had on here, and just even in general and in life. Like, you know, I find a lot of the times like I'm trying to shake my own, you know, boxed in thoughts pinga. You know, we all, I'm a Maori, and we all Pacific Islanders too. You know, we all follow like Pacific Islanders. We all come from the Great Ocean, and we make up a minute percent of the whole world's population, but we have so much to give the world. And you know, and it's cool to see people like yourself doing not just the rugby, like you said, the stereotype, this is what we're good at, but also the media things. I think that's beautiful, sis. And
Thank
you
you.
know, because growing up, like, you can't be what you can't see, right? And if we don't see people in those spaces, even not even just growing up, even if you're an adult and you maybe have like things like this, like I'm 32 years of age, I started this in January, as I said to you, but it's been an intention of mine for a long time. I probably should have started a long time ago, but I just didn't. You know what I mean? And there's people like myself in those positions that if we can see people doing like what you're doing as well, can be like, oh, maybe I should give these things a crack. So good on you, sister, and power to you.
I just want to shout you out too, because you said before we started recording that you're probably up to 250 guests, and you've been running this baby for what, 6 months? Like, that is hunger, that is drive, that's bro. So like, I give it up to you for real. That's my.
No, yeah, definitely mahi, and not the Tongan mahi either in my Tongan cousin. Shout out to the Tongos, man. Not that mahi. But yeah, no,
my days.
I'm trying to make up for lost time, so you know what I mean. At the same time, because I
sure.
feel like I should have. Yeah. But also on that, another thing you said was about being boxed in, and just on that, my grandfather, my koro, used to say, because I've always been a sort of out the box thinker, even as a child, and I always say the teachers would say that to me, and I don't know, maybe you got this as well, and I used to say to my grandfather, my koro, he was be like, you know, oh, my teacher said I think outside the box, and he goes, just don't have a box, then you can't be contained, and like that always sat with me, and it's like always been like
that just gave me chills.
Yeah, and that's always sat with me all my life. Like, I always think about that, and when people talk about boxes, and there's so many, and even ones that I have to unlearn myself today, you know, and still finding them. There's so many. Even one like a big one is like, I think the tall poppy syndrome that exists in a lot of our communities. Like, we want to see how people shine, but then, or like I want to see how people shine to the to the nth degree, but a lot of people want to see how people shine, but not too much. You know what I mean? Oh, you come back down here. Yeah, which sucks. You know, no one trying to break that. Like, even when we're talking, and like a lot of our people are like, when I talk about our people, Pacific Islanders, they're like, oh, but like, I'm not being like, you know, I'm like still being humble at the same time, but like, I'm good at this. It's like, bro, you can be good at this and be proud of being good at something and being skilled, and not be hating on anyone else. It's all good to stand in your power and shine. I think
that's like so powerful. Like, just hearing you say that, I remember a few years ago, like, I heard as part of a sermon, when you start to get jealous of somebody else being in the spotlight, to kind of ground yourself in the fact that there's enough room for everyone to shine.
Yes.
Like, I don't have to be the only brown woman on media. You don't have to be the only brother running a mad potty and, you know, attracting high caliber guests. Like, there is room for everyone to shine. And me living in my purpose doesn't take away from you living in yours, and vice versa. And I think once I was able to kind of accept that truth, anytime that I'm like, oh, damn, like, that's kind of cool, I wish, I'm like, hang on, you get to shine too. Your shine just looks different. And I think if everyone could just have that understanding or a glimpse of that when they start to sense that comparison beginning to seep in, far out would operate differently, would celebrate differently.
Yeah. But it takes work, eh? Like they say, Rome wasn't built in a day. Our people,
yes.
our people didn't get like this in a day either. So it's gonna take some work. But people like yourself, even my little self in my own little way, and many others that get out there, because that's a big thing that I say to people too. Is like, because like a lot of family are like, oh, everyone has a podcast, or heaps of people do this and that. Yeah, but they're not me, and I'm not them. You know what I mean? And I wish them all the best. There's enough, like you said, there's enough air for us all to breathe and enough food for us all to eat. So like, let's go get them, man. Let's shine together. And the top's so much better with a lot of people, I'd say, than just being by yourself. That'd be boring. Hey,
let's make a party.
Yeah, let's have a party. Hey, cover on. Let's go. Oh yeah, I see a question that I did ask before, but I don't know if you caught it because was siblings. Obviously.
Oh yes.
How many do you have?
I'm one of four. I've got two big brothers, Wes and Kevin, and then a big sissy, Rhonda, and then there's myself. We're really, really tight knit. A lot of that is, growing up was a bit of a struggle with mum and dad separating. We were quite young, so we kind of leaned on each other a fair bit. And I honestly love them so much. And as we've gotten older, the bond has only gotten stronger, and I'm like really, really thankful for them. Although at the moment, like, we're all situated in different parts of the world. Like, Kevin's living over in the UK with his family, playing in the Super League. Wesley's over in Fiji, coaching a side named the KVT Silktails. My sister and I here in Sydney, like, constantly moving, but constantly in touch. And no matter how far it goes in between speaking to each other, there's always someone being like, hey, let's catch up, FaceTime, or Kevin and I, we just kind of have this unspoken rule of just keep calling until someone picks up. Like, just keep calling until someone picks up. We don't always have the most aligning schedules, but if I miss your call and I said, I'll get back to you when I can. And although we are operating on completely different time zones because in the Northern Hemisphere, there's definitely a time where we do overlap, and it's always cool to connect with my siblings.
Yeah, solid. You said that your parents separated when you were young. Like, how did it work for you? Was the co-parenting, or did you stay with one, or like?
Nah, I reckon even back then, like, it wasn't like, I'm not talking like, my parents separated 20 years ago. Like, I was young.
Yeah.
I was really, really young. But I feel like the tools now that people talk about when it comes to blended families and separated families, those tools didn't really exist back then, or maybe they didn't. We just weren't operating by it. But it was a real tough upbringing, bro, for real. My parents, they both came over to Australia in the late 80s separately, but then met in Sydney.
How you doing?
I'm pretty sure that's what my dad said. Pretty sure. But when my dad met my mum, she was only 16, and she fell pregnant with my brother when she was 16. So I always tell her, if MTV was around back then and the show Teen Moms existed, you'd straight up be on that show. Like,
100 Teen Moms. That's right.
100%. And I guess I didn't really appreciate how much harder it would have been for them back then, because like, resources would have looked so differently for them. And anywho, long story real short, they got together real young. They started a family real young. By the time my mum turned 29, she already got 4 kids. Didn't go on to have any high honors in school. Dad got stuck into a job, and I guess sometimes you don't really have a lot of empathy for your parents when things don't work out when they're younger, forgetting the fact that they're humans too. And they're flawed, and they're trying to work through their stuff. And all you see is like your trauma or your hurt and all that. And like, how can you
talk about it, sister? Yes, I feel you.
And like, how can you not see that this is the obvious route? Like, this is the right thing to do, not necessarily having all the facts and understanding of how they're experiencing the whole situation. So it was really rough for them when they first broke up. Particularly for mum, she really, really, really went through it because she was pretty much looking after the 4 of us. But people that I'm eternally and so deeply grateful for are my grandparents. So my dad's mum and dad, they came to Australia in the mid-90s, and they just held it down. like, I don't even know how else to say it. Like, they just held it down. Like, mum and dad were hurting. They were acting out in their own and individual ways. And like Friday was like clockwork. My grandfather would come and pick us up from school and would go to my grandparents' house. And they lived in a 2-bedroom apartment on top of a news agency. And a lot of like people like my family, like, you know, that like they stayed there for I think like 12, 14 years. But that place was like the safest haven for us, that, you know, mum and dad would be going through whatever they were going through, like no food at home or whatever. We just knew we'd go to Boomboy and grandpa's house and like would be well looked after. Like there was always going to be a warm bed to sleep in and all the rest of it. Like they could create a home when our own home wasn't necessarily in the strongest place, if that makes any kind of sense. So, you know, everyone always speak fondly about like their auntie's house or their grandparents' house. Like that house on Wollongong Road was there's like the safest place. Was like the safest place. And like often, like I still drive past it now. My sister has like lives in an apartment not too far from it. And like often I'll go and I'll just like stop and look at it and being like, man, like that house harbored us when we were going through it. It held us. It was home. It was safe. And I'm grateful for it. Like my grandparents are no longer reside in that place anymore, but it brings a strong sense of nostalgia when I'm around it.
Yeah, up the Vuvale. Let's go. Are they still with us though, your grandparents?
My grandfather, he's been promoted to heaven, so he's no longer earthside with us. However, my bumbu, she is. And yeah, like that's the matriarch of our family. That's like the queen of my heart, and she knows it, and everyone knows it.
Yeah, shout out to her. Hey, I like what you said about that, you know, being a listener, I guess, and not understanding, you know, dynamics, or all having all the facts, or even understanding how to process them all. Because I came from teenage parents too, and I always just thought like, if he's hate me or this and that, you know what I mean? Because they weren't around. But then like, I grew up with my grandparents, and then was passed around a lot of times too. But I like just seeing it through my lens as a child was just like, you didn't like me or whatever. But now being older and being a father myself, I look and say, man, imagine having a kid at 16, 17, brother. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, cuz yeah, I couldn't imagine it now that I look back. Yeah, so that I think that's a gem that somebody could take out there that may be in pain about their parents if they've gone through the same situation, you know. Maybe make amends, because I definitely let it affect me for a lot of my life, for sure. Like I'm probably only still coming around now, like to like being all with them.
Bro, you and me both. Like my sister and I talk about it continuously, about how things from like your childhood, when it's like unresolved, how it does sort of still hinder you throughout your adult life, and you just don't realize it. And I'm just like such a big believer that we're like still kids on the inside, like, you know, still like we just need to look after that little kid inside of us, because that kid's still hurting or still needs, you know, reconciliation with certain things, just to make peace and like move through it. Because, yeah, I mean, I know everyone's like in a stage now where it's like it's topical to talk about your trauma, but I also think it's so necessary, because you realize how much it can actually hinder you or burden you if you don't deal with it well.
Yeah, hard. And there's many ways to deal with it. You know, I know some people that can deal with it without actually talking about it, but just saying to themselves, like, I understand, or like speaking to it themselves. They don't really want to talk about it, but like when I hear them, I believe them that they're cool, they're good with it. Like it's not hard. Which is like, I don't know if I could sort of do that. Like, you know, we're all different right out here in this world, but there's a lot of ways to deal with things. But definitely, I think a big one for a lot of people, especially us, because we're told, like, as well, I don't know if he's got up being Maori, like, be hard, shut up. You know what I mean? Don't just handle it, get over it, move on. You know what I mean? Like
a real taboo culture around talking and speaking up. Yeah, for sure, that exists 100% in Fijian communities.
Ah, solid. Your brothers as well, they both play footy. Did you look up to them when it comes to your football at all? Or?
Before even I found myself in rugby, I used to think the world of my brothers. There used to be a magazine here in Aussie called The Big League, and every week they'd release the team list for that, and I would like just go in, just honestly drop down from my grandparents.
Jump down, yeah, I was about to say, hey, brother. Yeah.
I like flick through and be like, oh my gosh, that's Wesley's name. Oh my gosh, that's Kevin's name, sorry. And then when Wesley,
not even rugby league week.
Yes. As soon as they like Wesley broke into the NRL for the Dragons, I was just like so in awe that my brother was on telly, and like he'd give us tickets and we could go to the ground and he'd be on the field, you know, in the white strip with the red V, and like it was just the most exciting.
You'd have been so young then too, eh? Like that was
I
wasn't that
was
like 05 or
so
6 or
young.
something? Like
Yeah,
when he
I
was
was
playing for the
about
Dragons?
6 or 7.
Yeah, because I remember I was like just started high school and I was like, who's this? Like I just like seeing, because you know the game's changed now, like it's whatever 60%, you know, plus poly, but I mean Pacific Islander, but before that it wasn't, you know what I mean? It wasn't, you know what I mean? It wasn't so much. So like it was rare to see.
Like, it was like Spot the Islander back then.
Yeah, it was rare to see the brothers out there.
But yeah, no, I just love like supporting the boys, and then it was a real special moment for our family when both of them got a contract up at Newcastle Knights, and you know, able to play together, and then they've gone on to do so many great things in their careers, you know, individually captaining the Fiji Bati side, both playing for Fiji together. They've won the premiership together, and just seeing them live was the most inspiring thing for me. And now that I'm in my, like, once I first got stuck into rugby, like the boys were really excited. They didn't really care that it was union, not necessarily league. And they've just been like so supportive of the journey ever since. And even still now, like when I'm bored on YouTube, I'll look up their highlights. More so Kevin's. Love you, Wesley.
No. Wesley was just a little bit before proper YouTube.
Just a little bit before the cameras, let's just say that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, like these are my brothers. Like I still wig out that the boys are my brothers, but so in awe of their journey, and definitely lean on them when stuff gets tough with rugby, right? Like my parents, bless their souls, and my sister, they get it, but they don't fully get it, because like unless you've been part of that grind and experiencing the highs and lows of, you know, a season-ending injury or a non-selection of a really important match, or, you know, just the highs and lows that you face in a season, like they get it. And I find a lot of comfort in speaking to them because I know that they've had a first-hand experience in it. So yeah, love my brothers, hugely inspired by them, not just as footballers, but more importantly as humans.
As men, they seem like very like Aveni, you know. They seem like very, very good humans, just like yourself. Seem, you know, very. Well, I think that's like, is it like indicative of Fijians? They're like, Fijians are like the nicest Pacific Islanders, I think, in general.
Honestly, between you and I actually reckon Fijians are the kindest people. I beg, you know, I'll be corrected if someone wants to say me, but I reckon for the most part, Fijians are really, really like genuinely friendly people.
Yeah, like run over you and burn you in a race, and then like, you know, just so nice.
I feel like my friends would be like, "That's not Sezzy. She doesn't."
You ain't got the law, Craig.
Seriously.
What kind of cartoons, or did you get into any of those when you were growing up, or any shows? What kind of obviously,
you know, in all honesty, I wasn't much of a TV kid. I really wasn't much of a TV kid. I loved to read when I was growing up. Like that was more my thing, like reading.
Tell us about it. What were you reading?
Honestly, like I loved like Ghostbusters.
Stuff Ghostbusters, like where are you gonna go?
There was like these Aussie bite books where it's like it looks like there's been a chew out of the book. Like I just loved that. And because again, being on top of the news agency, my grandparents, they didn't have like back then it was like Optus, right? Like you'd Optus to like watch like, digital TV or whatever.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
Pay TV, you know, back then.
TV,
Yeah, like we didn't have that. So I just used to go and like just chill out at the news agency below and like just like read through all the magazines that were already open, because you know, like back in those days sometimes the magazines were sealed because they had like a special prize or like giveaway in it, but other than that like I just like go through and scour through those. So that was like more my jam, like just like playing and like reading and writing.
Or were those around then or nah?
Yeah, that was around back then, like Total Girl, like all this stupid stuff. And then I just went through this mad phase of loving Mr. Bean. That's probably the most memorable thing. Mr. Bean, weird, like really weird, but I just thought he was really quirky, and like the fact that he couldn't speak but could do like really cool experiences. I'm like, how the hell you function and you don't even speak, man?
You're thinking,
but I was amused by Mr. Bean.
Wow, was he like? Would you say like Mr. Bean? Was he a crush or nah? Not like that.
No. He wasn't. I just thought he was so quirky, like. Think about it. Mr. Bean. His like pants are a little bit higher than his socks. He like goes on these big European tours.
Yeah.
And he finds himself in the most bizarre circumstances, but he can get out of it and help people and help himself. And he doesn't even talk.
Listen to the depth here. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. I haven't watched Mr. Bean at all. but thank you for taking me on a journey. Maybe one day,
I
you know, when I feel like
Bean.
not listening to people talk, I'll watch Mr. Bean.
It just goes to show you could probably be just as effective without talking.
Yeah, well, listen to the depth of your understanding of like the journey he took you on as a child. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that was me. I wish I could tell you I was like a Harry Potter fanatic or followed something religiously,
none of that.
but not really. I feel like the closest thing I came to it was Mr. Bean.
Wow, yeah, the Mr. Bean. But what about music? Or what kind of jams were you?
Oh, my house, bless. We would like, because my brothers were also growing up too, right? So there would always be like drink ups and stuff at home.
Yeah.
So like there was always music playing, but like grew up listening to like Boys to Men. Like I feel like I could sing most Beyonce songs, like all those old school ones, like All for One. Like that's me, like old school R&B, not like rap, but more so R&B.
R&B, yeah.
Yeah, that's where you'll find me. And even still today, like my Spotify is so boring. Like I listen to the same songs every week. Like it's Ashanti, it's Usher, it's Alicia. But I love it because I grew up on it. And there's just good comfort music that you know.
Oh, true. What if you were to like win the lotto, like you won 100 million or something like that? What would be the song you would want to play when to celebrate that dub?
Earth, Wind and Fire, September. It's my favorite song.
Ooh, do you remember? Yeah.
Yes, September is my favorite song. Like I can.
That's a track, eh? That's a track.
That is a track. That or Tevin Campbell, Can We Talk? Ooh, come on.
Ooh, how many times does that get to play a week?
Too many. I've been bloody told to shut the song up, but no, those two songs are like my feel-good songs.
Are these like your hype songs, like when you're in the locker room ready to go get it? When you're in the changing rooms ready to
there's two songs.
Okay.
No, there's two songs that are my hype up songs. One is Schooling Life by Beyonce.
Schooling Life. And
the second one is Church by T-Pain.
Oh. I don't know the other one though. I don't know. Can you give us a couple bars or nah?
No, I don't want to embarrass myself, man.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to embarrass myself.
No, you know what? I'll do Beyonce. Not today. Don't leave Beyonce.
Look, I can't flex all of my goods in one day. You know?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my gosh.
But like that's literally it. Like so, those two that you just play those. Like, are they just one-time plays or?
Oh yeah, they probably get one-time play. Like Church in particular by T-Pain became like the last song we'd play in our change rooms for our Waratahs games before we go out and warm up. Like, because everyone's just like, oh yeah, we're about to go out now. But then other than that, like I love like a bit of like Burna Boy, bit of dancehall stuff.
Burna Boy's got some tracks. Oh, okay.
Boy.
I thought you were just going straight broken ass the whole time, but I get it now.
No.
I was like,
there'll definitely be some.
Just we need to have another conversation. Now you're right.
I mean, now that you mentioned it, let's just have a real deep talk about these.
Yeah. Like, because it's not the end of the road.
I love, but can we talk? You can pretty much quote all the song titles. You could quote the song titles. Oh my gosh!
So give me 2 seconds. I just gotta this heat is hot as and I just gotta turn it off.
Yeah, do what you gotta do.
Talking now, I can hear.
It's all good. I'll just have a sip of my tea while I wait for you.
Oh, what's in the tea?
Just a peppermint one today.
Oh, peppermint. Is that your favorite or?
No, it's the one tea bag I can find in my bloody cupboard.
Are you an avid tea drinker?
No, absolutely not. I am a coffee drinker through and through.
How do you have your coffee?
Yep, I already had one coffee this morning, and then again,
how does it go?
I'm an oat flat white.
I don't drink coffee at all, man. I don't like the taste.
Sorry, you'll save a lot of money. Just don't even bother. Don't bother.
I'm already hypo because I don't need any coffee. Yeah.
Seriously, most days I'll have like at least 2 coffees.
True.
at least two
That's not
purchase.
too bad, sis. That's not too bad.
Ju-
I know some bad people out there with
Well,
the coffees.
Well, think about it. Like in Sydney, to get say like a large oat flat white down the street from me is about $6.50. So that's like $13 a day, and then you times that by 7.
Oh, I see what you're doing there, little Stephen Hawking.
Little math, little conviction maths. I hate when people think about this every time. I'm like, don't convict me. I'm going to drink coffee regardless of how much.
Yeah,
it is.
yeah. So good. Stand right those big checks, cuzzies. Yeah, include the coffee in the brothers. We need 30, 50
Oh
a day
my
for the
gosh.
coffee.
Whoever's looking, that's Shub's opinion, not mine.
Yeah, 100. That's all my opinion. If I say it out of my mouth, it ain't hers. It's my opinion. Or anybody that comes on this show.
Grateful for my life. Grateful for my life, my bro. That's
Yeah,
for
no,
sure.
100%. I was just saying, like, if they want to, write up a couple coffees in there, $13 a day on top, man, let's go. Speaking on that, sis, how did you end up in that space? How did that come about?
Oh my days. Crazy. The reason I'm in media is because I was first and foremost given an opportunity by ABC. So 2021, I went on a show called That Pacific Sports Show, which is still aired today, and I'm now a co-host of, as a guest. I went on, I loved it. It was amazing. It was anchored at the time by Tiana Penatani, who a lot of people would know, brilliant athlete and human, and Dean Hallertau had an extensive career in the NRL as well.
Yeah, Dean's been on here, and Tinido's been on there a couple of times on that thing.
Oh my gosh, those are like this is all my media besties.
Yeah, they've been on this. They've been on here. Yeah,
I'm actually doing a radio show with T on Friday. Crazy.
Oh yeah.
But anywho, so I went on the show. It was great. The following week, I get a message from ABC Sport. Hey, we saw you on That Pacific Sports Show. We thought you were great. Have a bit of an opportunity that I want to talk to you about. The opportunity that they had for me was to be a radio host with Dean Hallertau on one of their shows called Can You Be More Pacific? And so Dean and I got stuck into that. I was so green, so much so that when I went to my first ep, I actually thought it was a TV show. I didn't realize it was a radio show. So I fully had my hair straightened. I had heels. I had a pair of white pants on. I was ready to go. Yeah. And I get there like, all right, we're going to go up to the booth. I'm like, booth? Booth. Turns out it was a radio show, it wasn't a bloody TV show. So anywho, him and I got stuck into it, that being Dean and I, and just learning the craft of radio and recording every week, etc. And then maybe a few months into that, the same show that I went on, being That Pacific Sports Show, the producers called me and said, hey, Tiana's actually going to be unavailable because she's going to press into her NRLW season. You keen to anchor the TV show? And I'm thinking, what? Like, I only started in radio like a few months ago, and now you give me a TV opportunity.
How consistent was this radio opportunity? Like, how often were you doing it?
Every week. We were in every week. So we were it was a pre-recorded show. So we'd go in, pre-record, and then it would be aired on a Thursday. So yeah, it was a bit crazy. So I was like, yeah, okay, I guess I'll do it. And that was throughout that whole COVID period. So it was a really weird one because like I'd be going into the studio and COVID being COVID, not many people in and out. Did a whole season of that. So it was like a 10-week season. Got to about week 8. And because the show, the target audience is the Pacific Islands, and in the islands, the biggest sports is NRL, and NRL was going on a break to do the final series. So what we were trying to do is let's go on a 2-week break and then we'll do a huge finals recap and then we can end the season. Yeah. In that 2-week break, I got a call from Channel 9 /Stan, and they're like, hey, we see that you've been doing some stuff on That Pacific Sports Show. Would you be keen to commentate? And at that point, the match that they were preparing for was Bledisloe 3, All Blacks v Wallabies, that was being played in Perth.
Up the All Blacks.
To be fair, at least Aussie won that test match.
Up the All Blacks, baby.
No, actually, I have to correct myself. The All Blacks won that one. Aussie didn't win that test match. So relax. This is not the time to talk about Aussie rugby and New Zealand rugby. Time and place, Shubz. Time and place.
Not they're gonna make her leave.
Seriously, where's the exit button on this party? I need to get out of here.
Sorry, there's no exit button for another half an hour. No.
Sorry, I've got to go, man. I got family problems. I need to
family problems. Yeah. I don't have enough. I gotta get my second coffee.
Stop. So no, basically like did the radio, got that Pacific Sports Show on a 2-week break. Stan called me. Ever thought about commentary? I was like, no, like it's never really been a passion of mine. I'm scared, like I'm scared, and it's live. Everything I'm doing at this point in media is pre-recorded, like, and that is the luxury
that's different.
I get the chance to go again.
Yeah.
But they're like, nope, like this is all live telly. So I was like, you know what, just put your hand up for it. Who knows what sits on the other side of it? So I went, I did my first test match with Stan Sport on the couch. Awesome experience. Sonny B. Williams on the couch.
Up the SPW.
Nick McCarroll, who is such a respected host. Justin Harrison, Drew Mitchell's in the house as well. Former Wallaby. Like there are some like heavyweights. I'm like, holy crap, the closest I've ever come to you is on my television, like let alone sitting next to you talking about code. I was so tenacious in my preparation for that first test.
Yeah, like give me an example of what you did to be tenacious.
I'm not kidding. I swear to God, I spent about 12 hours preparing because I was.
In what way? How do you prepare? Like, what do you do?
Well, I was looking at the team list. I looked at the team list. Then that
how many times?
Test match. Pardon?
How many times did you look at the team list?
Too many times. You look at the I looked at the team list and like you try and look for the biggest headlines, like you stay across the news throughout that week because lots of news are being circulated throughout the week of a test, right? And that was a test match that Ardie Savea captained the All Blacks for the first time. So I knew there was going to be some time. There was going to be some time spent talking about that. So as I was preparing for that, I didn't realize like you get sent a run sheet and like the producer will call you to kind of talk you through. These are the big talking points. Come prepared on this, this, and that. So when I got there, I was just like full of knowledge, and I just didn't know which part I was going to use, but I just made sure that I had something to say if I was going to be asked about anything. And it was just such a cool experience. Like I was so well looked after. One, I like had done my own preparation, but like the Stan crew and our statistician, like they do so much work and like giving you the information as well. And then walked in the door that first time, and before I got home, I got a call and they're like, "How'd you like that?" I was like, "Oh, I loved it." They're like, "Well, we love you, and if you're keen, rugby championships are coming up," and I haven't looked back since. So yeah, and it's just like crazy. Like 2021, like it kind of all started. It's only 24 now. It's only been 3 years, but man, like my life has changed so much because of, I guess,
in what way? Can you speak on the ways it's changed?
Well, my career, like I used to work like 5 days a week, 9 to 5, and now I'm pretty much like a freelancer, like in media.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah, and like, you know, like I have the luxury, like again, like this morning I wake up and like I'm sick and I don't have to report to anyone that I'm sick. Like so I can look after me today, you know. And then like on the flip side of that, I'm also really fortunate because rugby here in Australia for the women's, the professionalism of the game has improved over the past 2 years. And I'm also being able to benefit from that playing for the Wallaroos and for the Waratahs. So while the money isn't where exactly it needs to be, I'm so grateful because even with the little that it can give me right now, well, to me, it's not little, it's actually quite, you know, it allows me to have a little bit more freedom over my life and allows me to invest myself more in my rugby and, you know, have the balancing act of rugby and media.
Let's be honest, it also gives you the opportunity to buy more coffees.
That's true, my brother. That's true.
Thank you for the coffees, guys.
We love our coffees. I could never give up the coffees. But no, it's so true. The between like the media and the rugby and what it's been able to give me financially, it has given me more agency over my life and how I live my days. And I'm really grateful for it. So it's again, it's always a little bit crazy, and sometimes I get a little bit worried because I think like without me even knowing it, I'm always trying to maintain the perception of like what's most important to me. And I think sometimes, you know, people are like, oh, like, are you still playing rugby, or like, are you doing media now full time? Like, well, matter of fact, I'm actually doing both. And like, I know that when I lay my head down to sleep every single night, like I don't miss a beat with either of those.
How cool. That's cool.
Like there's no shortcuts in it. Like you take shortcuts in rugby, like you'll be found out. You take shortcuts in media with your preparation and you'll be found out. So like, I just know that whatever I am committed to right now, which is rugby and media, it has 100% of me. And when I'm like, when that's taken care of, I have moments like this where I can take up other things and just like do things that fill my cup.
Gee. Oh, me. fills it with some nice coffee too. Eh? That's the one. Oh,
Oh, let it go. I'll buy you a coffee next time I see you. Even though you got it.
nah, hot chocolate, sis, hot chocolate or something.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
got you. I'll add a marshmallow in it. Would be
nah, I
pleasure.
got you, sis, I got you. Hey. You know what? That preparation thing. Yeah, you're on with the key because I'll just give an example. I had Elliot Dixon. You know Elliot Dixon? He's played for the All Blacks Highlanders. He he was on there, and I listened to my cousin. And goes, "Oh, Ash Dixon's his brother." So I go, "Oh, shout out to your brother Ash." He goes, "That's not my brother." Should have prepared properly, cuss.
I'm so doing that. So just yesterday when I was at work, so I work with Sammy Wax. He used to play for the Western Force.
Yeah, I know Sam Wax. I seen
Yes,
him a few
Wax,
times
good man.
in town in Perth back in the days.
Yes, of course you would have. Love that man.
Yeah, good
Anywho, we had a guest on the couch for that Pacific Sports Show who is a prolific swimmer for the Cook Islands. He's preparing to go to his third Olympics. Anywho, Sammy off air goes to me. Well, he says he's trying to qualify for 2 events at the Olympics. I'm like, 2? Crazy. What? He goes, swimming and boxing. I'm like, boxing? Oh my gosh, they're complete opposite sports. Like, prepare so, like, you know, so intently for both of them would be so technical. Anywho, for whatever reason, it didn't come into my mind. We record the season. Sammy looks at me after we finished recording. He goes, remember how I told you that like he was trying to qualify for 2 events? I'm like, he goes, I was just joking. I just wanted to see if you were going to use it. It's like I was hoping that you were going to say something about his boxing.
Yeah.
No.
The Togo was being cheeky, eh?
I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy. But I'm like, that just also goes to say, do your own preparation. Don't let anyone else do your preparation for you.
Yeah, no, that's my point. Lucky the very laughed at off. We just cracked up and kept going. But I was like, I was
that's
like,
not my brother.
Oh, no, that's not my brother. I was like, listen to my cousin G. Because I was talking to my cousin just before I got on. He's like, "Oh, you got next." I was like, "Oh, Elliot Dixon." He's like, sorry." And I was like, "I'm so Ash." Oh no, he goes, "Oh, yeah, Ash Dixon's brother." And I was like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah, 100." I was like, "Not even."
Oh, you got stitched up.
Yeah, 100 got me, cuz. Oh, got me good. and do you think that it's cool, like being in the space of media, but then also having the Pacific Islanders with you as well? To like, does that give you a bit of I don't know what to say, maybe some mana, maybe just just because we sort of get each other, like it's different, right?
It is, and that's like the plain answer is that it is different when I get to walk into that Pacific Sports Show compared to when I'm going to do commentary. And no shade or anything, but there's just
never,
like,
ever. It's just we
like,
just it's just different.
It's us. Like, it's me talking to like my brother or my sister. You know what I mean? And like the banter, like we roast each other about each other's rugby, or like like so like, bro, I saw the way you jumped in that line now. Like that was ugly. Like you just give it to me straight like that, and like there's no hate in it because I know like, man, we roast each other, but like we love each other and we keep each other. And I think there's something so unique about what we are creating at ABC, through that Pacific Sports Show just being one of the TV shows. There's another show called The Pacific. They've got a number of radio shows as well.
Asian footy with the boys.
Yes,
the boys
exactly.
got the Asian footy.
And I just think like, man, what a time to be alive right now in the world of media. Before it used to be like, oh, I think I know about it. I think I know about that, or like, what is that? But I feel like now there's a greater understanding of what we're doing and the shows and the personalities and the faces that are being showcased. Like, it's no longer just, oh, that person is the face of it all. There are a number of us that are, this is our grind and it's our career and it's our profession and we love it. And we're in such a privileged position where it does support our livelihood as well. But I love it. Like it just hits different. Like Monday morning, like the joy that I have and the joy that show gives me is truly unmatched.
Yeah, shout out to the ABC too for giving us just a crack here, and then
Thank you.
Because ABC, if it wasn't for that ABC, like obviously also if it wasn't for, because how old are you at this time when this happens? What are we, like 26, 20? No, 28 when the opportunity comes. How old?
Yeah. I was 26, 25, 26. Yeah.
I think like obviously shout out to the 26 years of life that prepared you to be the character you are, that resonated with people that want to give you a shot. But also shout out to ABC for wanting to do this around around Pacifica, football and sports, and it's cool because like
100%.
all the brothers need is a shot and sisters, and then shout out to Stan for seeing you and going, hey, come on, go, let's go, come have a crack.
I know, it's like, honestly, the like ABC and Stan Sport, like I'm so grateful to the people in power that like give me the opportunity, right? Because that's the thing, is opportunity can be there, but like whether it's given to you or not is a whole nother question, right? And then to continuously give you the opportunity, and you know, ABC has certainly given me so much, and then like Stan on the other side has, like, it's been crazy for my career. Like,
Where have you gone to from like Stan and all that? So have you gone overseas much, or?
No, I've done all of our coverage. Like,
yeah.
I've only traveled like throughout Australia for it. When we did the World Cup coverage, we did it from the studio. Only our commentators were over there, plus our, some of our producing staff.
There might be you next time, sis. There might be you next time, eh?
I thought it would be. I mean, next month is the Olympics, and we'll be part of the commentary team for that. However, we're also hosting.
Don't you bring up boxing, yeah?
Oh my God! Imagine. I'd be such a shame, Joe, if I try to talk about anything else other than rugby, to be honest.
Nah, you'll be good. You'll be good. You got this. You'll prepare just as well as you prepare for everything. Obviously, rugby is natural because that's the sport you grew up playing, and you know what I mean. And rugby leagues, you know, if you ever talk about that, you know, you grew up watching and you read the big league weeks and all of that stuff. So I'm sure you'll be sweet with whatever sport they give you. Sis. You're ready for this. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, get it. Rugby wise though, where did it start for you?
Rugby started at high school for me. I went to Endeavour Sports High School. They basically were like, do any girls want to try rugby union? I was pretty reluctant. I was like, no, that's the sport where you guys just keep kicking the ball to each other. You know, because going league, like, you know, 5 tackles, then you kick.
Yeah, run it there. Yeah.
I was like, no, you guys are boring. You guys always kick the ball to each other. I obviously understand why we kick it now. But I got stuck in at school, and honestly, I started playing as a sevens girly, and then from that, it's just evolved. Like,
sevens has done heaps for the sport too, eh? Like they'll like.
Oh, it's so like time. There will be a time and place where we can properly sit and reflect on exactly how much sevens has boosted rugby union.
Yeah, but even here, especially the women's game too, eh? Like.
The girls, they just became world champs in Madrid over the weekend. Like, they are. I'm constantly in all of them. I know. Sorry for you, bro.
No, go hard. Just go hard.
We should just keep rugby out of this, because, like, that's going to be.
No, we keep it. Because you know what people tell me with my auntie's like, you know, you do this, you've got to stay non-biased. I was like, hell no. Hell no. I'm gonna stay. I mean, you know, respect it always. You know, even when I had like Jeremy Paul on, and we were just like, yeah, and obviously he's a Maori, right? And then I was just talking to him about like how growing up, you know, he played for the Wallabies, Jeremy Paul, but I was always like, where's this? I didn't understand, because like especially then. There wasn't many brown at all. They played for the Wallabies, let alone, you know, but then they come in at a Maori. But no, at the same time, like as much banter as we have here, it's also for me, it's just like I love this country. It's given me a lot of opportunity. My children are born here. Like I'm not sitting here talking to you if I didn't have like this country didn't exist. So like don't get me wrong, I'm proud of All Blacks up the wires more than anything. Yeah, but like all day, even though we ain't too good.
New Zealand hard. I can respect that, bro. 100% I can respect that.
But like, yeah, like if my kids grow up and they end up playing for the Wallabies or the Kangaroos, well, you know, I'm going to have to support Aussie too. Yeah, I'm going to have to, you know what I mean? And I'll be honest, if Aussie plays other teams, you know, I support them, you know what I mean? But I say in my bio, Maori blood, but Anzac heart. People think like, oh, did you serve in the military? No, just like my heart is, you know what I mean? Yeah, so yeah.
I love that.
But yeah, shout out to the girls, shout out to Sevens, and what it's done for the game, mate.
So much. They've done so much, and they'll keep giving. Like, the Olympics will be such an exciting campaign for those girls, and I'm so looking forward to calling some of that action. But man, the way that they've just produced results, even though they've had lull periods where they've lost out on campaigns, weren't really hitting finals, a lot of suspensions when you look at this past season gone by.
Oh, true.
Yeah, they've had a fair few suspensions throughout the seasons for like high tackles and stuff like that, but it was ruling out some of their big names, but they just like rallied and they rallied time and time again. And then
They ran on a run at the start too, eh? So it's like when
they were on
bang,
the
bang,
strongest start. They were on a real strong
Yeah.
start. And after Perth, then New Zealand started to have a little bit more ascendancy. Oh, they were like in a bit of a lull period themselves. And then over the past few legs of the circuit, they've really skyrocketed. But everyone knew that Madrid, whoever won Madrid, won it overall, which is such a different format for it. However, man, I was so impressed with these Aussie Sevens girls. I can't stop singing their praises. I just think they are the shining light of Australian rugby right now.
Yeah, I think so. Well,
Yeah.
because sorry to say, the other countries aren't too good. But no, definitely. And let's be honest, they were the first to win an Olympic gold medal in sevens women's rugby. You know what I mean? They
Could
beat
be
us in the final.
2 gold medals in a matter of weeks.
It could not. No.
Next subject. Let's just the next subject.
So, but give us a top 7 of all time sevens players in your opinion. Just
Oh,
to right now.
I couldn't do that.
Just
Oh,
relative
God.
to now. Relative to now, just in your opinion of all time. Women's.
In no particular order. In no particular order.
They're just gonna run out. All 7 are gonna run out on the field.
Okay. Emily Cherry.
Oh, yeah.
Charlotte Caslick. Portia Woodman. Michaela Blyde. Iona Muff from the US.
Oh, yes.
I'm a big fan of Maddie Ashbury. Big fan of Maddie Ashbury.
She's Maori.
Yes.
Is she?
And Stacey Walker.
Yeah. Oh, she done the business though. She done the business. Yeah. What a team. I think their team just slaps everyone, to be honest.
That'll be a pretty freakish team. But there's so many greats. Like, the thing about sevens is it is the most elite form of rugby. Like, their aerobic capacity is insane. The way that they have to train and prepare, travel to play and perform, like, unmatched, man. Like, I have the greatest respect regardless of what strip you have on your back. But what I do appreciate about the sevens is the opportunity to play and then, like, possibly be promoted. And if you're not good enough to be up there in those nations, to be relegated, because then it just keeps the cycle moving and gives you something to fight for, right? Like, you don't want to just play and be like, oh, we're going to be stuck down here in this competition forever. If you're good enough, obviously you're going to have the opportunity to be promoted. So it's a huge machine, this world circuit. But man, it's such an exciting thing to be at when you're finally at the tournament. I hope you got to go down to the one in Perth.
No, I had to do some things. I was going to go, but yeah, didn't end up going. But yeah,
that was such a vibe. Like, new location in Australia, killed it. Was able to go over to LA, witness that. So different.
You went to the one too? So LA. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I went to one in LA, which was.
But you didn't go anyway, or you just went and watched?
No, I went to go commentate for that one. It was a pretty crazy week. I was in and out of Australia for like 5 days to go and do the sevens.
Yeah, and how does that work with all your other mahi you have to do? Or your other work?
Yeah, basically, like, anytime I'm given an opportunity and I see that it, like, clashes with rugby, I'll make the first call. But if there's like, oh, we're not actually playing in that week, or it's just a preseason or whatnot, I just, like, contact my coaches and just ask them, and which I did for that. Like, I'd been given Perth, a comp over in Fiji, and LA that were all happening within, like, a space of 6 weeks. So I just, like, called my coach and I was like, hey man, I've been given these opportunities. Can I take them? If I do, it means that I miss out on X, Y, and Z. However, if your answer is no, that's fine with me. Just, like, let your yes be a yes and let your no be a no. I don't want your yes to be yes now, and then the energy is weird.
When I come back, all comes close to it.
Or anything like that. And, like, on the flip side of that, let your no be a no. And I can cop that as well. But at least you're, like, straightforward with me. It's like, no, it's fine. You can take it. So again, like, while I talk about the complexities of trying to manage both of the two things at one time, it's also because I'm enabled by my coaches to be able to do it. So, like, I have so much love and respect for them because they allow me to have this life as well.
Mm, definitely, sis. No, that's what was LA like for you? Was it the first time to LA or you been before?
No, I hadn't been before. It was the first time for me to go to LA, which was crazy because like I pretty much went over like in the middle of preseason. At the time, though, I wasn't able to fully train because I was just coming back from surgery. I had like off-season surgery,
Mm-hmm.
but it was insane. And to be honest, if I had my time again, I probably wouldn't go away in the middle of a preseason. Like you miss out on certain
Okay.
parts, and it's a little bit of a catching up thing that you have to do. And that's another thing that like I'm super mindful of is that while I get to do the two, um, my heart's desire is that like this is what I would do when I finish playing rugby. So the opportunities will be plentiful, but your days, particularly as an athlete, like they're so numbered. You never know how much time you have in a single team. You don't know if you'll get contracted again. You don't know if you'll be your new coach's flavor for the next season. So like anytime that you're there, like just make the most of it. And that's something that I constantly have to remind myself about as well, is that, oh, everything on the outside might look shiny and fun, but the days that I have right now to be an athlete, they're numbered. So I want to be able to cherish them.
No, solid. Sis. Hey, before we get out of here, I got a couple of little quick ones, if that's all right.
Yeah. Let's do
If
it.
you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what do you choose?
Rice.
Every day. What? Just rice?
Well, do I get any condiments with it?
No, yeah. You give like a meal. I said like a meal.
Oh, a meal?
One
Oh, yeah,
meal
rice,
every
milk, and
day.
sugar. Rice,
Oh,
milk, and
true.
sugar. Yeah,
What
that's
kind
my
of
favorite.
milk? There's a lot of
Full
milks
cream.
out here.
Full cream.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
no funny business.
No
Straight up
funny
full cream.
business. Yeah, okay.
Full moo. That's what I want. I want the full
Oh,
moo.
the full moo. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
True. Wow. There you go.
Nice one.
That's just you? Is that you still to this day you smashed it?
Yeah, if I steam like boil rice or whatever, I know for sure, regardless if I'm having it with like a curry or whatever, I'm gonna eat rice, milk, and sugar before I go to sleep.
Oh, low key, same, actual. Oh, cream even. If there's some cream around, sometimes that gets used up. But yeah, I'm in there.
Sometimes you can go like rice, butter, and sugar. Oh, that hits. Now getting a bit crazy.
Hey, but that's every day. You could eat that every day.
Yeah, that's me.
Sold. All right, then. That's it. Every day, baby.
Yeah.
Superpower. If you could choose one or even create one, what would you choose and why?
Fly, because I'm always late.
Fly, because you're always late.
I wouldn't have to worry about petrol because I always run out of petrol. I wouldn't have to
More
worry
money
about
for coffee.
more money for coffee. It's free.
Yeah.
I decrease my carbon footprint.
Oh, hell.
Yeah, the social responsibility.
There we go. Oh, Elon Musk over here. That's it. Just get it, girl. Hey, 2030.
Let's go.
Oh, yeah. See, you say flying. But not even so. If you could go to if you could fly to any destination in the world right now, where would you fly to? Somewhere you haven't been.
Italy.
Oh, Italy. Why Italy?
The thing is, like, I want to go to Italy, but I don't want to just go to Italy. Like, I want to, like, that is my top destination.
Oh, true.
My top dream destination, but I want to do it properly. So Italy would be the place that I want to go.
Boy, it's beautiful. Italy is beautiful. I've been a couple
Just
times.
all the images I've ever seen of it have only ever been so beautiful.
Even the food sisters like very simple, like not much, but just yum. Holy reckon.
Yeah, I can have like a full eat, pray, love moment while I'm over there.
Oh, eat, pray, love. Holy. Who was that? Oh, Julia. Oh, Julia. Hey.
Oh my days. Yes, eat, pray, love moment in Italy.
Okay, there you go. You gonna toss some coins over your shoulder at the trivia fountain and get these things? Or? Why not, eh? Hey.
Why not?
Why not? Hey, there's so much history there in Italy. There's so much history all over the world, but so much of Western society was created in that place. Like of the way, even though roads, even they had they had central heating like back in 2,000 years ago. Like they had like furnaces under their houses that would obviously the wealthy ones, but you know what I mean. And they could keep the floor warm. in the winter and stuff like that. So
That's
much
actually crazy. I didn't
crazy
even know that. See, this is what I mean. I want to
yeah.
have the same experience when I go to Italy, history and all.
History and all. It's the place. There's the place to go. Yeah, I look forward to seeing those pictures. This hey, visualization 10 years from now. What does life look like for Sera
Ooh.
Naiqama?
Retired, married in my own home.
Is there someone you do? Do you got a men's or?
That's such a public question. Yes, I do.
No. Oh, yeah, shout out to the men. Well, you gotta say no. I got a girlfriend. So, you know what I mean?
No, I definitely got mans. I got mans.
Shout out to the brother.
Yeah. So like, retired, married, living in my home, 3 kids, and a full career in media, whether it's hosting or rugby commentary.
That's good. Maybe it'd just be like the doing all the sports there. You're just
doing the sports host.
Yeah, you might do boxing and swimming at the same time.
Ooh, come on now, brother. That's heavy visualization right there.
We're heavy on the visualization.
I'm not staying in my own lane anymore now.
I like that you're just like boom, 3 kids, married, like yeah. So this is you already had that. It's already locked in.
Yeah, I'd like to. Yeah.
Baby. Why 3?
Kids. I'm not sure. I just feel like 3 is a good number. 2
Well,
is like if they have like
3?
if, like 1 is like lonely. Like in my opinion, like 1 is lonely. 2, if they have beef, then there's like no one to like rein them back in. But at least if there's a 3rd one, they can have sides.
Oh, okay. See, I got 3 sis, and I think that's rubbish. I think 3 is crazy. I got 3
crazy.
Yeah. Like 1 is obviously you think it's hard when you got 1. Then you got 2. Like you think that's crazy because they both got mates, but then that 1 to rein them in, 1 ring to rule them all. I don't know, cuz. Hey, I mean, no regret saying grateful, but like this is my.
It changes the dynamic.
This is your vision, though. So let's go live it, sis. I look forward to seeing it happen, seeing it come to fruition.
Thank you. I received that.
Yeah, 100. And give us a little piece of advice or pieces maybe for anybody that might be wanting to start a career in rugby and in media, either both or 1 piece for each. What would you say?
This is a good question. I think be brave to try anything new, whether it's rugby, whether it's trying to start a potty or get your foot in the door with media. It's going to require some vulnerability because you have to expose yourself, but be brave enough to be seen trying, even if you do fail. I think that would be my 1 piece of advice is like choose bravery often and as much as you can, because so many times people stay bunkered or stuck in the same place because they're too scared, which is also fine because they're on their journey. However, like feel your fear and be brave anyways, because you honestly never know what's sitting on the other side of it.
Got the chills myself and like feel inspired. I feel like just running for a brick wall, respectfully.
Hold on,
let's go. This is Sparta. No.
Sparta, what is your profession?
Oh. Let's go. Hey, I just want to say, Vinaka, for giving me the opportunity to sit down with you. Time's the most valuable commodity we have as human beings. The one thing we can never get back. We can always get back money. We can always get back things, but time spent is time lost. So thank you for sharing, over an hour of your time with me, and, for not only like sharing the time with me, but booking it in, over a month ago, and then still sticking to the time, because I know schedules get hectic and you never know what could have come your way. So I appreciate this, and also jumping on sick.
No, Shubz, the pleasure is all mine. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak, and also just giving people the opportunity to share their journeys. Like, it takes a lot of time, but like you said, like, it's so valuable. And I think what you're creating here within your potty of giving people the platform to share and be seen and feel valued, I think is really special. So keep up the good work, and you'll always have a fan in me here in Sydney.
Yeah, hey, big love, sister. And I look forward to coming for the hot chocolate, and then maybe we can have some rice milk and sugar with the bro. I don't know what the brother. What flavor is the brother? Can we know the
I
bro's
got
flavor, or is that not allowed?
He's English.
Yeah, let's go. Shout out to the brother Pommy, the Pommy cuss. Eh? Do you know where the term pom comes from?
I'm getting embarrassed, Shubz. We're going to jump off the call.
Do you know where the term pommy comes from?
No, I don't.
So when the convicts came to all over the world, obviously the British convicts, they had on the back of their garments POM, which means prisoner of Mother England. So that's where the term pom comes from. So if you look at it that way, really the true poms are the convicts that came here. And yeah, so there you go.
Bit of history.
But history, sis. Yeah, I'm full of random
history.
stuff that nobody cares about. Big love, sister. Appreciate you.
All right, take care. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much for watching this full episode of Mind the Mic. It takes a lot of time, energy, and effort to create these episodes. So to know that you've watched and listened to the entire thing means the world to myself and all our hosts. If you could, before you leave, please hit the subscribe button and share this episode out to as many people as possible. It would help us so much. Thank you again to everybody that's still here, still watching. Thank you for all your comments, all your shares, all the DMs. Appreciate you all. Make sure you follow us on every platform. Have an awesome morning. Have an awesome night, depending on where you are in the world. Mind the mic out.
Oi, have you hit the link in bio yet?
Watch full episodes on YouTube or listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all streaming platforms.